You could be larger than life.
Hello, welcome to Election Day 2020. Thanks for tuning in. Live Life Driven episode of our show. The answer is yes. Thanks for your comments on the recent show with Jake. I loved interviewing him. I loved picking up his book afterwards and reading through it. Well, I couldn't let the week go by without having an Election Day podcast, and I'll make it brief. You know, this could be, as many say, the most important election of our life, and I think they're all equally important, but for some reason, with COVID this last year and the distaste by so many vocal people about Trump, this really feels like it's got a lot of magnitude behind it. You know, I recently exposed myself for the first time on social media that I voted for Trump in the past, and I will vote for him again. Actually, I did today, because I vote with my faith. And if you don't know what that means to me or to somebody else, is I look at the policies and what that person represents as it relates to my faith in God and some of the foundational elements of the United States and how the Constitution was written and the people that wrote it and the message behind that. And I know over the years, at least recent years, maybe since the mid-'70s, people have tried pretty hard to manipulate our original founders of the country, what their intention was. And I don't agree with that, and I stand behind those original intentions. You know, Second Amendment is a big one that so many people talk about, and freedom of speech is also another one. And I do believe that the country was founded on a faith in God. It's written on our money. It was written on the walls of our courthouses and governmental buildings until it was taken away. And I think that that's a big miss for this country. So I hope that you vote tomorrow, not just with your heart, but with your conviction and your common sense and your knowledge and understanding of what's important in this country and to people. And I will say, if you're listening and you've never voted, regardless of your age and you're old enough to vote, your vote does matter. Give you an interesting story. Up here in Montana, I've developed a friendship with the gentleman. He owns a gun store. He's a cowboy. Through and through, I know, Republican, conservative. And we just had a lot of casual conversations. And I happened to get a couple tickets to go to see Donald Trump Jr., Ted Nugent, and Cameron Haynes, and then all the conservative people running for office here. And this was just a couple days ago. And, so I took my friend, and we had a fantastic time. And he's a few years older than I am, so he's mid to late 50s. And we had a fantastic time, and I just felt like, gosh, I was sharing the night with a like-minded individual, somebody that, follows politics and understands the letter of the law and why we do things. And it was really interesting on our drive home. He said, I'm looking forward to voting for the first time. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, I've never voted before. And I said, really? I can't believe that. And he said, nope, never voted before. He goes, I was that person that didn't really raise my voice or make a big stink about the policies because I knew I didn't vote and I didn't have the right to say anything. He goes, but I've just never voted before. And, I understand that on one hand because I know some other people like that, but I knew that about them. And I didn't know this about my friend. And it was very interesting to me that I've just made that assumption about him and that people don't think that their vote matters. So know that your vote matters today. I don't care what way you vote. Just vote. Have your voice be heard. Have an opinion. Do the research. Understand the politics. And I really hope and pray that you look at the policies and what's important to you, not only today, but to your kids and your life down the road, whatever way you believe. And that's how we should vote. And by the way, regardless of how your friends and neighbors vote, don't hold it against them either. It's their right. It's all of our rights and privileges. And we should vote with our heart and minds as to what works best for us. And that's what I've done. And, it's interesting. People have so many negative things to say about Trump, but it seems like it all goes back to some comments he made on a bus while he was amongst a bunch of athletes about grabbing a lady. And, people accuse him of being a womanizer and stuff. And one of the things that's great about my faith is that God forgives. And I forgive him for what he's done, and I'm not going to hold that over his head. And it's surprising to me how many people, that's the only thing they have to say about Trump. He's a womanizer and a liar. But everything else is just unsubstantiated, non-proven facts about him. And I think he's done a wonderful job for this country. I think he's done a wonderful job for my portfolios, for not only my portfolio, but my kids' portfolios, retirement-wise. And I think he means well for all of us. And if we could get past the hate, I'd posted something, don't hate the message if you hate the preacher or something like that. And basically, just because you don't like the messenger doesn't mean that it's not a good message. And I think that so many people are wrapped into hating Trump for the optics. They don't realize the message and the policies that he's put into place and how good they are for people. It's astonishing to me to see some of these rappers recently that have come out of the woodworks in support of Trump. And it's actually, to be honest with you, quite refreshing to see them doing that and having their own opinions and not being swayed or pushed into a corner, because we know Hollywood will damn you if you say anything positive about Trump, which again is still so baffling to me, because the fact is, I've been on Trump's properties. I was fortunate enough back in the day when he had The Apprentice, I used to drop off Azuñia tequila for him and the cat, not for him, he doesn't drink, but for his cast. Whenever somebody got fired on the show, they had a little party afterwards, and we provided the drinks for that. I had met Trump back in the day. Seemed like a very nice man. I was also fortunate enough, a lot of people don't know this, I'd taken my wife, Samantha, to New York for the first time. And we were walking up and down the main boulevards there, and I said, hey, we should go into Trump Tower. I've been there before for the TV show. They've got a Starbucks upstairs. Let's go in there and grab a Starbucks. And while we were sitting there drinking our Starbucks, the famous scene of Trump coming down the escalator was occurring, and we watched him go down the escalator like, wow, what's he doing? And I said, I heard rumors that he might announce for running for presidency, and it just seemed like such a wacky thing at the time. Of course, we all know that. And that's what he did that day. So it was really interesting that we were there during that time. So I am excited about what's to come tomorrow. I will reinforce what I said on a previous podcast. It doesn't matter who wins this election. I'm not going to change what I do. I'm going to focus on my values, which I write down every day. It's God, family, health, giving back, and then time with my trying to make as much time as I can, and within all that I make a living and support my family. But I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing regardless. I'm not going to be out rioting if my candidate doesn't win, or vice versa. So I hope that you do the same. And I wish everybody the best for the balance of this year, regardless of what happens in this election. And, that's what's great about this country, is that we have the House, and we've got the Senate, and we've got people that help make laws, and we've got the Supreme Court, all these stopgaps in place that we can rely on to do their jobs as well. There's a lot of people that run the government, not just the president. So hopefully whatever the outcome is, you stay positive with that and feel good about your vote and the direction that the country's headed. Because I usually give a couple tidbits, things that I like as value, things to stay driven. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, and there's a few that I'll mention, and maybe you can find some resources in that to, step up your day, increase your knowledge. So I like Quick Brain, Kwik Brain, with Jim Quick. It's a great podcast. I started listening to the Charlie Kirk Show. He is a young conservative Christian, and he's been running the circuit, so he has a point of view about politics from a Christian faith. He is, of course, a big Trump supporter because he believes in Trump's conservative values, but I enjoy him. I still listen to David Meltzer, my coach and person that inspired me to do this podcast. I am obsessed with Real AF with Andy Frisella. I listen to every episode whenever I can. He had 300 in his CEO project podcast, so I'm still catching up on some of those. But Real AF with Andy Frisella. And then, let's see. Yeah, that's probably me maxed out. I do like The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe when I want just some entertainment, and that's The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe. Oh, I'm sorry. I did start listening to the Ed Mylett Show, Mylett, Ed Mylett Show. So there's some resources that I like. I'm reading Phil Robertson's books. He is from the Duck Dynasty TV show. His books are amazing. They touch on politics, God, family, and things like that. So if you're looking for a good read, Ed Milet's got a great book out. So anyways, I hope these things help you, get you through the week, get you through your days. I am wrapping up 75 hard. I've got 5 days left at 5 days starting Election Day. So wishing myself the best, and my wife who stuck it out with me, she's got 5 days left as well. I highly recommend the program. It's an Andy Frisella program. I've lost a few pounds. I've lost a few pounds, as well as brought my body fat content down. I'm under 12 now, so feels good. I look forward to the holiday season being lighter so I can pack it all back on. So that's it for me now. Next time you hear a show, we will have elected, hopefully, a new president. Hopefully they decide that. And hopefully your lives just feel better and fruitful and you make the most out of it. So enjoy the balance of your week.
This episode of The Answer is Yes brought to you by Baja Bound Insurance Services. Driving to Mexico? You can buy and print out your Mexican auto insurance policy online in minutes with their easy-to-use website. They also have great travel information to help you plan your trip south of the border. Visit BajaBound.com.
The door is open wide. Feel the rhythm of today. Learn apart and join the play. The world is here. Let's take it for a ride. Hey, you could be